Okay, so I'm pretty excited about this video. Let's talk about how I would go from 0 to 10K a month as a VA in 30 days. Okay, so um, basically, I'm going to just go through this week by week on what I would do and the steps I would take to get there. Okay, so week 1, I would focus on picking the right skill. And the skill you want to focus on picking here is a money skill, something that shows value to your potential customer that will make them more revenue, essentially, right? So ideally, you want to pick something like doing CRM setups, doing automations, doing funnels, workflows, anything in that direction where you're like building a system or something in their business. Pick a skill in that direction. And then I would watch tutorials. I would definitely build 1 to 2 mock-up projects that I can show as proof of my knowledge and ability to do that skill or whatever that is, right? And then I would want to understand the outcomes. So by outcomes, I mean like, what does the client get from me doing this for them? How do they benefit? And you want them to benefit in a way where you're showing them that they're going to make more money by investing in you. Okay, so that's the most important part to your week 1 and what you want to be able to show. Okay, so you don't need to necessarily master the tool, but you do need to understand how it solves a problem in their business. Okay. And then week 2, I would focus on building a $3,000 offer. And it doesn't have to be a $3,000 offer, but that's just the number I like to go with. A lot of business owners, if they see the value, are willing to invest that amount of money, and it gets you to your 10K goal fast. Okay. So you just would want to put together a simple package, or I would put a simple package together, where it's essentially going to be setup of that system, process, whatever it is I'm doing. And then also I would include a monthly retainer post the setup project, right? So the setup project itself is 3K. And then I would do like a monthly retainer of 1,000, which is to maintain that system and keep it moving forward. And so an example offer, I just want to throw that out there, is something like, I help coaches automate their lead follow-up so they can stop losing clients. Okay, so you can see that they see the value in that, because if you have a good lead follow-up system, you're more likely to close sales, right? People are gonna remember you, and you're gonna keep reaching out, and you're not just gonna drop leads, because you're doing the work initially, and then if you're dropping leads, you're losing money. Okay, so creating that lead follow-up system is gonna get them more clients in turn, and they can see the value in that. And again, that's just an example. But action steps I would do this week are defining the niche. So who am I going to focus on working with? Coaches, agencies, small business owners, what is it, right? I would work on my offer statement, and then I would build just a very simple portfolio that I can send to clients so they know I actually have experience doing the work, right? And it doesn't have to be, it can definitely be work they've done in the past, but again, we talked about in week 1 is doing a portfolio, right? Doing a couple of projects that just for you to play around with, but doing a couple of projects, then add those to your portfolio to send to the client. Okay. So, and something to focus on in week 2 that is super important is clarity. Clarity is what's going to make you money. So you want to have a really clear offer for the client. Okay. Don't make it confusing, because then they're not going to know what they're going to get. You want to be very clear on what their return on investment is going to be. Okay. Week 3, I would focus on actually getting clients. Okay. So, basically what I want to point out for week 3 is, you don't need a website. If you do want a website, make it a really simple landing page. You definitely don't need a big audience to make this happen. What you need, most importantly, is to have conversations. I'm going to repeat that. You need to have conversations, okay? And I tell people this all the time. Like, I get so many VAs reaching out to me asking me, oh, do you have any work for me? How do you get clients? All that good stuff. Have conversations. It's as simple as that. I built my entire $10,000, $15,000 a month business by just having conversations and eventually referrals. Okay. And the way you want to do this is, I know a lot of people say like LinkedIn reach out, which you can certainly do. Social media posting, all of that is not really what my recommendation is. I would recommend lining up anywhere from like 5 to 10 networking events every single week from then on until you are where you want to be, and really practice your pitch. So put together a 30-second pitch and then show up to these events. It sucks at the beginning and you might be super, super nervous and you're just not good at it. And don't even sweat it. Like, we all started somewhere. I wish I had recorded the first time I ever went to a networking event. I was so nervous. I think I barely got my pitch out. But the more you do it, the better you get. It's truly just a repetition, a conversation, and a showing up game. And then if you show up, and here's my number one tip as far as showing up to these networking events. Try to find ones that repeat weekly or monthly, and then show up to the same ones over and over again. And then people will start to get to know you. They'll start to like you, trust you, all of those things. And then eventually either they will work with you, or you'd be surprised how many people are just going to refer other business owners to you, even if they don't have a referral agreement with you. Okay. So that's what I want you to do week 3. Show up and have conversations. They don't have to be in-person events. They can be virtual, obviously, because we can work with anybody anywhere. But if you prefer in-person events, feel free to go with those. You'd be surprised how many local small business owners need a VA as well. Again, your first clients are going to come from having conversations, not from content and not from cold LinkedIn DMs. Even, you might get lucky with that, but the chances are very slim. And then week 4 is where you're going to close and deliver. And the main things I want to say about week 4 is keep your sales calls super simple. So once you're at this networking event, you're having conversations with people, and then you want to set up an immediate sales call with them. And don't call it that. Just say, let's have a call to talk more. And then on that sales call, keep it super simple. Focus on outcomes, not the tech, right? Don't tell them, oh, this system, that system. Focus on what they're going to get from signing up and working with you, right? And then the main points of the call are just to spend a lot of time listening to them. And then at the very end, pitch your offer and close them. Don't spend most of the call talking yourself. You want them to talk and you to listen for most of the call, okay? And then post those closing calls. You want to just have some form of onboarding figured out. And then essentially, I just want to kind of review the breakdown here. If you get 1 to 3 clients at $3,000 a month, that's already $9,000, right? So let's say you got 4 clients, you've hit your 10K, you've way exceeded your 10K goal. And that's not hard to do. If you're out there networking and you're doing everything that you need to do, you're going to get there. I promise you 100%. And then the last thing that I do want to point out is if you sign them up for the project itself and then also sign them up for retainer months, then you not only get income like a lump sum, but you're also going to get monthly recurring revenue. So in the future, you're going to need fewer and fewer new clients to get to your 10K a month, which, like, how sweet is that? That's what is so cool about this, is that if you do this and you work really hard at the beginning, you're eventually not going to need to network that much anymore because you're just going to get referrals from the people you've already met. So you only need to keep up with those people. And secondly, if you sign them up for retainers, you're eventually just, again, not have to network so much for new clients because you have these recurring existing ones. All right. And then you really get to enjoy doing what you love doing. Okay. So yeah, that's a 4-week process that I would go through to get from $0 a month to 10K plus a month. Most important, and I'm just going to reiterate again, focus on a money skill, something that shows revenue to them and return on investment. And number 2 is have conversations. All right, see you guys next time.